GIS technology has been put into practice, remote sensing, but it's a very, very costly affair. You and I cannot simply go there and ask them freely. Adugi issues layeba, akoi Manipur je. Access to information is a big issue. All right. So from 2017 to let us say March 2026, these many areas have been destroyed. Just add it up and see total areas so far had been. But again, you cannot use it as a data to claim that these are the actual areas, acres of cultivation. Because those two are very, very different phenomena. All right. So border fencing had started. All right. Just one more thing. In the Naga areas, land it's a very complex issue. Ownership of land in the Naga areas is not uniform. Tangkhuls are different. Within the Tangkhuls, the Urkul side, Tangkhuls can be divided into 4 regions: north, south, east, west. All right. So in these 4 regions, again, land ownership issue is very, very complex. It's not uniform. In Tamelong, again, it is for every community, there is a system of land ownership that makes things very, very complex in Manipur. But to some extent, we can say private ownership is amongst the Nagas to some extent. And that private ownership exists in the form of clan ownership. All right. Like Thangzam in, let us say, Bungpa Khunau. Our area is this. And the eldest, the Piba, it is his birthright to distribute again, the eldest. He is the sole authority again. Then there is the village lane. All right. The architecture of a typical Naga village is, for example, Kamai Duino Kangre. Oh, outer. All right. These are then second ring. Finally, this is the habitat area. All right. So if you visit any Naga areas, you will find that most of the villages are confined in one point. All right. And the second fringe is, it's a kind of land areas where there are clan ownership. Outer ring, the first outer ring, there will be an area of land, circular or whatsoever shape, rectangular or square, that is clan land. Casing's lane, then the curry, similar pattern exists amongst the Jalero. Annals are again very, very different. So no issue of common lane here. The outermost part is the community lane or the village lane. So where does the zooming or zoom takes place? It's in this area. All right. The village authority, they decide who are the people who can undertake, and it goes on in a cycle, cyclic way. Cookies do not have such system. All right. So what happens is, if the village council and the chief of the village or the chairman, if there are people like me corrupted, all right, any outsider can come and request them to lease out the land. So most of the investors will be the people who will be investing, approaching them, and they will acquire certain areas of land. All right. In this land, poppy cultivation takes place. So who benefits? The council benefits. Some percentage given to the citizens. They call citizens. Are you a citizen of Bungpak Kuno? Are you a citizen Haibaneva? You can be born in that area, but if you are not a citizen, you cannot be buried there. That is the idea. Yantabra. Nagas have citizenship system. You can be born there, but even if you don't stay, because burial is a very, very sacred practice, everyone wants to be buried in their homeland. So even if they don't stay here, for example, there are Tangkuls in Island, they will continue their membership with the home village. Each year they will contribute for the church, for the graveyard, or for the activities of the village. And citizenship membership, they have to subscribe. All right. So they Smite Taurani. So who are the investors? Investors can be the Chief Minister of Manipur. Huh. That's what the cookies are claiming. We are cultivating, but the investors are all Meiteis. To some extent, very true. It can be the Marwaris, it can be the Nepalis from Kathmandu, huh? It can be Chinese from any other area, because nowadays routing of money is very, very easy in a way. Not wrong. Amaitogani. So who benefits? Everyone in the village benefits. Number two, who benefits? Now a phenomena of protection agency comes out. If it is an NAC and IM area, they will say we'll provide the security and protection from the police or from any other. That's why they get money. Not wrong. So everyone benefits. And the Kamasom is such a village. We introduced bee keeping, because bee farming is the easiest, huh? Better than fish. At least for fish, you have to give the curry. My chana, the happy bata. Khoi gidi am like khoi do box am thami thado krani hoijan baju changoi halak tribra hai baju thire roi. It's a very profitable, and we don't have to give them fodder also. We introduced that, they didn't do it. Now Khamaswam is a lost Tangkhul village. And by the way, poppy cultivation historically in Manipur was started by the Tangkhuls. Goes back in the 1970s. Chits were brought in from outside Manipur, for example, from Myanmar or from Indian states. All right. So they started it, but for them at least the moral conscience, all right, the church prohibited, so they shifted to ganja cultivation. Okay. Now the cookies have taken over, Meiteis are involved, everyone is involved in this bloody poppy business. We cannot blame only one community. All right. So border fencing has started because of all these issues. Drug trafficking, cross-border terrorism, insurgency, etc. And 20 kilometers have been completed. And before that, we need to talk a bit about the free movement regime. Government claimed that it was removed in 2000, 20, 26, 24. They claim it has been removed. So it's in a, I don't know, it's in a flux. We are not sure whether it has been totally removed or it is in practice. So 16 kilometers inside Myanmar you can travel. Huh? Myanmaris can come into Manipur up to a, earlier it was 32, they reduced it to 16. It has so many issues, but nevertheless, okay. So More Tengdo Palda 20 kilometer, 10 kilometer complete the border fencing, 20 more approved, and all the 398 will be completed. It is a promise of the government of India, who are opposing those who have sympathy for the insurgent groups. Everyone is against it, huh? Including many Meiteis. We cannot blame only the Nagas and the Mijos and Arunachalis for standing up against it, or the Mijos. All right, there are also many who wants to, I mean, who doesn't want the border fencing in Manipur. So 2024, they claimed that it was removed. Internal security. Okay, this is it. So we'll stop here today. I mean, please take this material if you think that it will be useful. So what are the key issues here? There can be questions on what's your opinion on drug trafficking in Manipur? How can you finish it off? Not raw, hypothetical. And perhaps, huh? How are you going to correlate the whole issue of drugs with the violence in Manipur? Adu di noy kumbang manina. Huh? Yar. Oh, we can have a glimpse of the border pillars. Because from here Nagaland begins. No? This is the Karibeli Sumra. Nothing. This whole range from starting uh, to Somdi Yaudre, from Kanchubong, Chingai Ko, Kuishu Haije. Sidagi Horaga, you can all the way till here, it is Cabo Valley. Very, very fertile. And mostly people in Cabo Valley, they speak Metilon. It's a very, very surprising thing. Okay, our social intercourse with this area was very, very, I mean, historically, it was only our gateway, not with the mainland India. All right. Most of the issues are here confined. Why me here, na? Clustered tower. See map sima jadum thamjalo. In your free time, you can just play around with the map. Fezrol karai neba. Where's Fezrol? Lereko. In Fezrol, there are mighty villages. Fezrol, and even during this violence, most of them were not affected. Mars are good by nature, all right. And why Mars wants to be in Manipur is because their population in Mizoram do not even get the opportunity to speak in their own dialect. They all speak Mizo. Out here, we don't impose, no? Huh? You get. Ay ang tangga hangge amadudi huzikan the kind of international conflict that has escalated today. Let us just go through together the potential ones. Natra, amay na ina mapping kara torok pa neba adu yang minaze. You want break for 2-3 minutes? Chalo. Ayaw mo hangak ke. Break man loro. Ayaw churuam thake. Sisiyong tamo tapi mo. Ayaw churuam tamo panto thake. Mo 2 minutes. look. So what I try to do is like the conflict, existing conflict. All right. Second one is about who are taking part, who are the parties in the conflict, and third is about when did it start, the timeline. Nah? Okay, and then the fourth one is what are the causes, what are the main reasons for this conflict, and what is the current status. I believe this gives us a overall overview of the kinds of conflict that is, you know. So this first table is the major international conflicts. We can begin with Russia-Ukraine war. Okay, apart from the reasons that I have highlighted here, Russians are Rus. They belong to the ethnic group called Rus. All right. Ukrainians are Slavs. They are closer to Polish. All right. They are closer to, other ethnic groups in East Europe, you can say. Rus are very, very different. So historically, very, very embittered kind of the ethnic relations between the Rus and the Ukrainians, you can say. That is also one of the historical reasons for their hatred to one another. Second one is during the period of Stalin, after Lenin passed away, the Soviet Union started something called population policy by Stalin. So, what is that policy all about? Soviet means science, scientific, okay? The word Soviet means scientific, Soviet, land, land of the scientific people, you can say. What is science, by the way? Tell us something about what makes something called science. What is science? What is philosophy? Huh? The moment science comes into your mind, what are the key elements or the characteristics we can talk about? Why do you experiment? To prove. One is about proving. Second one is if you can make water through the combination of H and the oxygen, hydrogen and oxygen in a proportionate combination, two molecules of hydrogen, atom, I don't know. All right. And the one molecule of oxygen under a specific condition, pressure and temperature, if you can make water in Manipur, under the same specific conditions on the moon, you can make water hibernatra. It's about the recurrence. Natra. The sun rises in the east, sets in the west side. It's a scientific phenomenon or natural recurrence ki natra. It happens periodically. Am I that wrong? But the most important characteristics about something being called sign is your provability. You can prove it. Natra. Philosophy is also a search for one truth, but very different from science. It involves more of rhetorics. Truth is arrived through dialogues, through the exchange of words, never, not through physical experiment. Natra. They also try to prove, but it is totally different in the sense that it is through the process of dialect or dialectics or discourse. But always the element of uncertainty exists. Natra. Philosophy. Social science, religion. All these are quest for truth. One partial or one part of the truth. Science is a quest for truth. Philosophy is a quest for truth. What about religion? It's also for quest of truth, search for truth. Never. Religion, they know how things happen. Truth, chika minor, lake. Faith. What is faith? You have faith to your parents, but it's not religion. To whom? You believe what or whom? Yes, idea of God. God to khagle gaya bro. God to get teaching that can be what do you call It can be based on scripture, like the Bible, Quran, or Upanishad, or we are in a very, very complex situation now. Natra. And the third part is teacher do na medium ni priest lay hare. Okay, that is also there. But very important component of what is being called a religion is sets of ayu hawala kay daw ba yes. Natra. Sigi mari si yaw kanji the religion haidu but the truth is always with the creator haidu no room for rationality, natra. No room for ifs and buts. Yare. Adu sigi kenosida Soviet tegi lakhi bani aduna to know something about the difference between science, religion, and philosophy, natra. So during the Stalin period, the Soviet or the Communist Party of Soviet land believed that if we live together, there will be no more fights or conflicts. Huh? Are you getting my point? You are a Muslim, you are a Kuki, I am a Meitei, you are a Naga, you are a Mayang, you are a Buddhist. Koi mga taruk se punna laminara di nuksinarkani haibanev. Yarba. So based on this philosophy, in terms of policy, what they did was they started planting the Russians in different parts of the Soviet lane. Initially composed of 34 countries. So the Russians are everywhere. Then from these specific regions like Ukraine, they started uprooting the people, started planting them in different parts of Soviet land again. But something that communism or socialism doesn't see is that land is always sacred. How is land sacred? It's a political capital, very true. It's an economic capital, very true. But beyond that, there is something called in the land is immediate memories of the ancestors. Aduna natro ko yung hong Ingrid. But our jobs demand it. Sometimes we move around. That's why the Naga says like when they die, they want to be buried in their own village. When I die, I want to be cremated in my own village. Lakro. And when I am living, land is living in the sense that it's a, what do you call, embodiment of our memories. So the Ukrainians felt very, very bad because of this policy, population policies. And the outcome was not always loving each other. They read it in terms of hegemonic domination, the Lakrev. Soviet land is purely scientific, but the medium of instruction, the records of this scientific or philosophical or religion, you need a medium. When all of a sudden they cannot invent one script, all of a sudden they cannot invent one language to communicate with one another. So the medium became the Russian language and the Russian script. The moment that happens, then people, because they are all rooted in their own language, in their own scripts, that was another factor. The imposition of Russian hegemony. Apart from the population uprootedness, secondly, in addition to this imposition of the Russian language, in terms of script, alphabet, and the language for exchange of ideas and scientific records, etc., that became a big problem. Soviet Union did the lakota. Third, the whole issue of economic disparity. Ukraine is very, very lucky in that sense. All right? River, Danube, Chielani. So during the Soviet Union, broadly you can divide the lane into west and east. Ural Mountains in a separate Europe and Asia. Eastern Europe, Western Europe, say Ural Mountain and aduna divide to the left side is proper continental Europe without UK. Continental Europe had the whole of Europe without UK. Yan tabire ko. Continental hierarchy, aduna continental philosophy, haibaga English or British philosophy, haibaziga anigi keneba neva. Again, that's a different story. What I'm trying to say is, if you look at the map of former Soviet Union, it can be divided into the eastern part and the western part. Never. Huh. Azerbaijan, Jan Jan Tabagaido, Hirone, Tajikistan, Azerbaijan, Turkmenistan, Stan Tarmiamdo. Yeah, that is because of the Persian influence, okay? Huh? Persian Empire influence never. Stan Taraktuije. Hindustan. Persian is not Sanskrit, it's not Arabic. Alright. And the Sikh Muslim countries may they all became agricultural, regions. Northern parts in Russia, 6 months ki manungda 1 month kumba agriculture to we are never because of the climatic condition, because it's very close to the Greenland. Guy. Noi map tong te hala yeng wani mi. Polar region, Arctic region ka natro, Arctic sea laidori ba natro. Huh? So they can plant only potato. And from potato, what do they make? Vodka. What is vodka? In Russian, it's called water. So cold that you have to drink it. Without it, you will die, literally. Vodka have the water have niko. And vodka is made only from potato. Huh? Adugi economic disparities like Ukraine was very, very lucky in the sense that most of the industrial, especially military plants, it was in Ukraine. Aduna ne mukhai ngami. AK-47 dagi horaga, nangi tank dagi horaga, aircraft ki horaga, arsenals mayam jigi, arms and ammunition manufacturing unit ama Ukraine di oigi. Aduna after the break up, mazu usilaktaba ama horakreba. So that is historical party. So the main reason di karino huju jigi thokpa sida lazy karino. What is the full form of NATO? And what was the opposite during the Cold War? NATO during the Cold War. NATO is an outcome of the Cold War. And what is Cold War? Daughter-in-law ga, mother-in-law ga kanab do Cold War kore. Masam ni sumboy phoina daba. Okay. So note the opposite is Warsaw Pact. Natro. USSR na lit Obama. Somna USA na lit Obama. Whatever. Aduna laiba pochi kari Russian territorial claims in Crimea and in Donbass. Why? Full of Russians. Because of the Stalin policy. Now Russian lairabanina. Now geography becomes highly affiliated with population. Now cookie gain high to cookie area cooking Ghana. Times are changing, huh? Aduni. And they also opposed to Ukraine becoming a part of NATO. And NATO expansion, it is reaching, once it reaches Ukraine, means it is at the doorsteps of Russia. Adugi fear gi Cold War gi psychological trauma mazulaiba Russia natra. So these two are the two main reasons. Natra aduda Lakuri Bazikari is going on. And how is Ukraine able to survive? Is because of the help from the NATO members, Haiduri Baneva. And what did the Iranians learn from NATO? It is not a very, very expensive rockets that you require, Harpaneva. You need only very, very cheap drones, Ivaneva. Huh. Hujila comparative picture, from the Iron Dome of Israel to shoot down one missile from whichever part of the world. That when a launch Doriba missile to Israel na, it is as expensive as around 2,000 US dollar Haidori. Natra. Can the Ukrainians or can the Iranians keep on manufacturing missiles like that? Financially is viable or now they start resorting to technology highly. Natra. Because they could read to shoot down one if they are spending that much amount of money. We need cheap ones, I believe. Adu miyamdu puzzle laga amaduna lupa chani people kumadu kapsul laga amana lot people to kapak to ineva. That's why they are not able to win. But Ukrainians are good technologically. They are back. War is going on. So many people have died. So many displacement. Details today happen as the young video cohort. Second, Sudan. Where is Sudan? Is in Asia or Africa? Okay, Sudanese. I do never. Natra. Sudan sida ani leidoiba natro, North and South Sudan. Which one is Islamic, which one is Christian? Hmm? Southern Sudans are Christian oidoiniko. Northern China Islamic. So Sudanese armed forces backed by Egypt, Turkey kaudre huji, Turkey kaudre ko. Then Iran, mojina one team. Then Rapid Support Forces RSF backed by UAE. See the South ka North Chine. So the North is supported by the former Sudanese armed forces. South is supported by Rapid Support UAE. What's an emirate, by the way? Huh? Malaysia was never a kingdom. I don't never. That's wrong. It is made up of 4 emirates. I don't even never. So emirate is a kind of like a autonomous kingdom. Amagumbani ko emirate harakatarabati. Yeah. So power struggle between rival military factions after 2019 revolution, which gave birth to South Sudan. Ko. And foreign proxy involvement. Proxy, as we have tried to explain what is a proxy. Natra. Adu thopadagi, ongoing catastrophe, humanitarian crisis, question of displacement, immigration. So Europe, after some years, will be full of Africans. Ah. Next, the Myanmar civil war. Myanmar is but in terms of resource in the world, you can say one of the richest. And fortunately, again, it has never been exploited to the extent of what is happening in India or in the rest of the world. Why? Because it was always under international sanction. Huh? So who helps them in terms of medicine? Kanane help the way? They are helped by the Germans. In terms of education, who helps them? And political science was banned in Myanmar. And recently, means in around 2000, it was removed. Political science, they have public at key department in the universities, but not political science. So who is teaching them political science today? Japanese and Central Asian countries. They don't want to come to India. They think Indians are very, very dirty and smelly. Adune. Hujik laiba si noi na jo adum taram lagani. Where is Arakan, by the way? Map see, map is very, very important for you. Huh? Arakan will be closer to Bangladesh. Historically, Arakan and Manipur was a big headache for for Myanmar, for Burma. We were from our side, we can talk about two kings. One is the Garib Niwas, although Hindu, it's a Persian name. Not all. Mayam ki changjabam Garib, Laiba, Niwas, changjabam yum mayo Persian name. The second one is Begachandra. So during this time, they had a very, very bad time. We were screwed. So issue in Myanmar is just like what we are witnessing in Manipur. The Myanmaris, proper Myanmaris or Burmans are in the valley areas. Rest are all surrounded by the mountainous regions. All right. And so ethnic-based insurgent groups or armed groups are the ones, they don't actually want to break away from Myanmar. They want autonomy. That is the issue never. And military junta haiba kanjida tatmado anama thingna kaneba. THAT tatmado. Tatmado sina military rule haiba neva. So military had been the key linchpin that had been, kind of integrating the nangi centripetal haidu natro saithoki bado. Forcing me am laksan na baje. Only the military could do it. Without this military rule, without the juntas, Myanmar could have broken up long ago. But the issue is in around 2011, Moigi Constitution Jima, I mentor Matungda, Aung San Chi, Ki Jicha Anapa ni Moije. Some Tihashina Cha Anapai. Or the Kiat Hydroquinity, Moika Rensido, it is chat. Moika Quiga pronunciation, correct neighbor, whatever. Constitution amendment tawre electoral democracy ki election tawhalle moina ju kare PDF kangbu jina natra People's Democratic ki portion pro democracy kangbu na kare house arrest thambire natra aduga military na dum rule tawraga leire ana issues is very very complex, and at that time through summer sign tawnarame on sanchi tawraga with all these EOA and insurgent armed groups mayam ethnic armed groups mayam diga, but somehow that is not in practice today natra, and it has become quite complicated in the case of Myanmar because of external intervention haibatar. The Chinese hand is always there. Natra, number one, Bell and Karidergi Padamoina, Chinese are making a huge incursion. And in the whole of Southeast Asia, you will find Chinese population everywhere. And wherever there are the Chinese, Chinese are the ones who are controlling trade and commerce. Right from Myanmar, you move down to Malaysia, Indonesia, Philippines, ko. Dagi even sigi countries may am the Myanmar kenogi Chinese ki kenosi am lay control tawe. So Chinese hand, then the American hand in the, especially in the Chin state, and also support to the Arakan. Arakan, as I said, is near border to Bangladesh. Ko adune aduga sitwe kana lay do Arakan dani our gateway to the Bay of Bengal. Natra adu sune aduna see foreign intervention leiba ani jugini, especially because Myanmar is very very rich in minerals, especially hujikan yano mineral do karieba rare earth. What is a rare earth? Adugi composition do khangbiyo ko, it consists of around 17 elements yaw natra, huh? And why it is called rare earth, huh? It's not that these minerals or elements are very very rare. It's available everywhere. Rare in the sense that extraction of these minerals, natra, in the pure form is very very difficult high, and that technology many of the countries do not have. Chinese have it to some extent. Spain has it, USA has it, Germany has it. Other than that, even India doesn't have the technology for the extraction of this. That's why it's called rare earth hyphenated. And why these elements are important, especially in today's world, how do neighbor in the making of no semiconductors, magnetic something haine kari no. Telecommunication di am seen hai. Electromagnetic ki yam yawe hai. Adaki ki computer ki chips ki kari kari adugumba the cinema le ko. Without it, you can't manufacture anything anymore. Hai banatra. Aduna. Aju khangde. Israel Palestine Sigi Warjima, it has been going on. If you look at the map of this region of around 20 or 30 years back, Israel was this small Haitam. Do they have a revisit and a relook again? Israel has become this big. It is becoming larger and larger neighbor. Natra. And Israel dana Jews khagleire, Palestinians are Arabs. Natra. Adugi over the occupation of Nangi West Bank sineba maruena. Natra. So the conflicting parties Israel versus Hamas is supported by the Iran. Proxies ni hari bani, that is in the Gaza Strip. Palestinian factions in the West Bank. So nowadays we hear a lot about cookies and measles claiming themselves one of the lost tribes, Bible Gido, Aduga Israel de Amsapanatra. So most of them are relocated at the Gaza Strip and the West Bank neighbor. And most of them are military gi kano in a sin of So major escalation happened in 2023. We heard about the bombardment, missile, etc. Natra. So basically, it's about territorial disputes, never. And settlement, sige main reason state. So Israel, such a tiny state, it's not even a Christian state. Natra. Hebrew ni moidi, Hebrew ngang bani. Aduga moina iliba religion do na kariba. Jews kind of liba religion je. Zoroaster hai bano. Zoroastrian je. Sige religion na home. Islam, then Christianity, and the Moi religion ahum jigi Old Testament and the Christian gi hai rani natra aduga Muslim ki dana Quran hairani. Amadugi dana maming I khangdre, I forgot. Characters are all the same. Places are all the same, except that names are different. Chap manaban. Abrahamic religion ka we koina moje natra. Then next, there is a war going on between Yemen and the Houthi conflict. Houthi khange the Tom Hanks ki smam leibane captain kariyeba. Whatever. What's his name? Houthis are mostly engaged in piracy. Come. Houthis in Iran amu back tawre versus Saudi Arabia na led over coalition Yemeni government mostly तौरीबजे सिविल वार 2014 दगी होगरे रेड सी एस्केलेशन लेगरे पावर स्ट्रगल नि ईरान वर्सेस सऊदी अरेबिया सिदै थोलकपने so that it's not a very high intensive kind of conflict, low intensive, but it's taking away, I mean, it's creating humanitarian crisis. When we talk about humanitarian crisis, the understanding is that it affects all the three basic needs of a human being, food, clothing, and shelter. Ahumji affect our, we call that phenomena setback, we call that setback humanitarian crisis. I do in Natra. Sana yauda di kamai hingni, senaba feel later di kamai tauni. Most important of all, shelter is in ever. And because of lack of shelter, they are displaced. I do even in Natra phenomena there. Then DR Congo, Sidazula is si Congo no kari Leonardo DiCaprio gi diamond gi smam dai dai ni yengabo keba ha Titanic nati oh blood diamond do no see when they have minerals but wars are created natra and when there is confusion and turmoil because of conflict others can easily steal natra andak ta ko di huran gi myam je kya myam age ha khai wala noi di jam khairam ba lam gi noi jam ta thingam gi अखोई हंदकी वायलेंस सिदा मयुम बिल्डिंग मंगा साबा तारा साबा में हम थोड़े ही बनत्रो हाँ पुलिस वो इधर नारों जो इधर फरक की कांगू खलाई मम्मी पन भैया दे अदु ना conflict पुल लेरा it's very easy to steal natro and some people are happy there is conflict in Manipur everyone benefits from it insurgents are benefiting Assam Rifles is benefiting police are building houses Akoi bokta, ha. We write something about it, we get money. That's all. So DR Congo gives the Democratic Republic of Congo government versus M23 rebel side Rwanda beg niko. Aduga other militias. It has been going on since the 1920s. Basically, it's about the control of minerals. Ko. Myanmar does do nito Iran gives in a carino. Thao natro gasoline I do never natra then Sahel insurgency where is Sahel by the way huh? Africa the never natra Mali ne then Burkina Faso ki kambu I mean we feel very bad no ours is bad there is extremely bad I do even never I mean whole college women college ki chhatri myam ka phara pu hidoi natro I mean on a Somali government, Sigi Dalai military junta, Russia na mu back tauba, jihadis in Al Qaeda gomba, IST Kangwanatra. Adugi Moigi affiliate me amjiga 2010 tagi horpane. So they simply term it Islamic insurgency. By the way, what is an insurgency? What is insurgency? Insurgent ka terrorist ka kay kena doino. Okay, to achieve a goal, insurgency na kari. Not the word to the gi explain to insurgent. How do you never? Resurgent. Insurgent. Huh? Something who opposes the government. How do you never? In the simplest of the term. Natra. What for? For it can be for so many reasons. Natra. Natra gana naharon karalay do is namaram sule later na because it is profiting. KCP faction kyam yamge. Ha? Ama khata ni korkom yaudu. Ate do di kari. Nupi masa uyadaba. Masu le nupa na migi lesabi akhoi lekai de pu sakini adu masa ko ma inaksu khukun na ma nupi du na kai gi yari ba sine ba because she saw the money and the power name. Rim san nong yem khai sa loi pisa khai hai ni. Kui chan pi thoki. Gyan men ta dre. Okay, Islamic insurgency ne do so. Somalia gi di kari no, it has been going on for a very long time. Somali government ne African Union Forces ne insurgent group ne la iba me amje Islamic insurgency na dum samjal la je ko si ni. Other Sigi data me amje na authenticity je I have collected it from the Council of Foreign Relations and the International Crisis Group. So these are genuine data. I mean, it is unlike our data on poppy cultivation, which is not so reliable. Ako na newspaper da gita ne do na. Perhaps they might have blown up the numbers. No, jo police officer ka na medal fang na ba tha ba na kari ba table book sa wam thar ga no na claim to na pari mga thara and they get medals. Unreliable. These are highly reliable, but that gives you a sense. Yeah, and after recent we heard about the U.S. Venezuela. Natra, Commando gi cinema ama dona dum uraga. It was just like a Hollywood movie. Natra, ako na YouTube taga ubang ambado. Forces me am paisal laga mi gi president bu para porapang amidubu. Okay, it's because of oil. But the reason the U.S. government gave it was drug trafficking highway. All the drugs from Venezuela are flooded in the U.S. market. It's just a hoax. Natra. Regime change pressure because Maduro ju kui malle pairakpa and he has become a kind of authoritarian. Venezuela, Colombia, they carry the history of Latin America. You can, all the Latin American countries except for Brazil. Brazil is lucky. That's why it's progressing. I think the lady drug issue and so many other religious issues. Adu tauraga uncertainty and the dictatorship regimes it was everywhere. Natra. Adugi issue Julaiba. And most of these, the institution of most of these dictators were played out by United States of America. Moiji Fattavan. Aduni reason the drug trafficking regime change Tauro Haibani, it did not evolve as a full scale war, but there was a conflict and it was because of oil. Venezuela has the largest reserve of oil and petroleum in the world. But the extraction is very, very difficult. And then what happened was, briefly, once there was the British oil companies in Venezuela, American oil companies, but after the coming up of the Maduro government, he chased everyone out. State control, regime jina loina ma pai gare, just like what Indira Gandhi did in India. State monopoly pai, but they lack the technology to extract oil. Adugi profitable erectava. And the other side of the politics was these MNCs, especially the oil companies, they once again want to enter into Venezuela to extract the oil. Adugi war juniko. Afghan-Pakistan border and the you can make it to yang bro kadiba. Zikan yang pauksima do durandar bro. Durandar gizi da bet to can oi doini. Pathan Afghan dongi saki oi doini banatra kadiba dugi group mindu. Which India is backing. Aduga Pakistan ki jo India no ji back to rahe. Aduna Afghan ki swal jo border issues ni Taliban harbor ni Tehrik si Islamic apa hai but is border issues. And then potential plus point high risks in 2026. UN has the mechanism of bringing out which are the high risk areas. In that even Manipur was included. Natra. Why Manipur was included? Because of a very unique because of a very unique what you call characteristics. In the whole of South Asia, the displacement in Manipur around 70,000 higher ever. It is the highest because of a conflict. That's why UN recognize it as a very destabilizing kind of factor. High risk searching given. Potential the ladies China Taiwan Strait crisis. China continues to claim that Taiwan, formerly known as Formosa, was a part of China. It became a separate entity after Chiang Kai-shek in the 1950, 49, 48, 49, 50. Chiang Kai-shek and his followers escaped to Formosa and made it their hideout. Adudagi Chiang Kai-shek ka Moksitunga nigi yanadudagi thokibane. Yariko, amana komintang, amana komintang. Then Iran-Israel crisis is ongoing. We'll come to that later. India-Pakistan war is also high risk. Ethiopia, Eritrea. Eritrea is a very small country, a breakaway from Ethiopia. Can be the size of Manipur or little bigger. And why it was allowed to break away is because of foreign intervention, especially United States of America, because Eritrea is very rich in oil and petroleum. Then South China Sea confrontation, especially between China and Philippines. Philippines always supported by the US and its ally. And Filipinos speak the best English in Asia. Because it was first it was occupied by the Spanish, second it was occupied by. So in terms of culture, most of the Filipinos they will follow the Spanish culture, dance, costume, etc. Okay, Japanese no. Then Japanese occupied, finally US occupied. Although now they are very good in English. Masagi conflicting parties ida dumlaje kana kanano yauri baje. As we know, USA is involved, Israel is involved, and the Iran is involved. Then Iranian proxies are involved, like Hezbollah, Lebanon de Leiva, Houthis, Nasayengre, Yemen de Leiva. Then other axis of resistance group that includes other insurgent Islamic groups. Okay. Then indirect USD dum yaure khange. So it started in 2026. If we talk about the latest development, 28 February, last day of February, Oramgani, Natra. Andakize, 28 Loibra. Live year okay no Andakido. Yango, Tiro. Strike Taure, main reason say USA claims that Iran is undertaking nuclear program. Iran claims that they have been very, very transparent and they have been reporting to the atomic energy. Natra, or UN does adum report away haibani. Then missile and regional threats, USA gives it as a reason. Israel also talks about the same thing. Especially the axis of resistance is posing a kind of regional imbalance in the Gulf countries. I do never. Then the objective was regime change. They believe that once Ayatollah Khamenei was removed, then everything will be all right. But a new one has come up. Natra. So they claim that the attack on Iran was a preemptive. Preemptive means not to something happen. Preemptive exercise. Aduni haire. So key events so far nasibo yangba kansida to come to the latest point, it is about the control of the Strait of Hormuz. Natra. Strait of Hormuz control to despite the bombardment of so many regions in Iran, Iran is having an upper hand because they are able to control the Strait of Hormuz never, and which is having a kind of global consequence. And so this strait, what is a strait? Isle, strait, Gulf, narrow passage never natra. And this belongs to two countries never. One is Iran and the other one is Bahrain Habanatra. Bahrain ki mesu yengadi am longing one. That part of Bahrain is like a pocket. Rest will be Saudi Arabia. Then within the Arab Emirates ki manung dazu pocket amale never Bahrain gi. Am moi ki Gulf ki map am longing one. Yengo. Whatever. So what happened? Strike the then effectively Iran closed it down. Why? Because when Haibdukiano, around 20% of international cargo, oil cargo, including the liquefied natural gas, LNG, Haibanatra, Adusu, 20% of the world's cargo on these commodities passes through this strait, Haibaneva, because it cuts down the cost of transportation. Not logistic to Tawagi, Sidaneva, but they say it is very, very shallow. Yamju thing around 33 kilometers width way Haibanatra. Adugi Manung Sida, only the central part can be, it's navigable. Natra. ꯆꯠꯄ ꯌꯥꯏ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯅꯦ ꯑꯇꯩ ꯌꯥꯗꯦ ꯍꯥꯏꯕꯅꯦꯕ. So they effectively close it down, and that becomes the choke point. So from 20 million barrels per day, now over 150 stranded neighbor. So it is affecting, it is creating a kind of energy crisis across the world now. Natra, each country have their oil reserve. India also has, but from that oil reserve, you cannot immediately use the WROF. You have to keep something for the future hibernate, eventual begini. So carries 20% of global oil, petroleum. It equally handles around 20% of global LNG, especially those that come up from Qatar, Natra. Then routes mostly exports from Saudi Arabia, Iraq, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Iran itself to Asia, Europe, and beyond. So it's a very important passage, narrow passage. Now, Saudi Arabia is the largest exporter of oil and natural gas study Qatar no doing. Iraq also equally good, third, fourth. The UAE is LNG ni, Kuwait oil ni. Iran itself is the second largest oil and petroleum exporters. So it affects especially Thailand, Japan, Korea. Loy na magsok ta balay treva natra. Aduni. So current as of 25th March continues to be closed. The claim that we cannot take part in the war that you started. But as of now, 20